Hello there, everybody. I'm Daniel with DotsCast. We're here at Rooster Teeth Expo 2014. I'm here with,
Hey, I'm Lindsay Jones.
and she is going to tell us a little bit about herself.
I am indeed. I work for Rooster Teeth, which is actually the company that is hosting this expo that you are attending. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
I specifically work in Achievement Hunter. I'm one of the cast of, now we just actually hired 2 more people. So we now have about 11 employees who are working for us, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm the only female member, which is fantastic. Also leads for a lot of interesting moments. I'm also the main character in our show. Oh yeah, right. The main character in our show, Ruby. I play Ruby Rose, which is an anime show that we have our second volume premiering. Actually, premiered this past Friday. So really well received. It's great. Other things that I do, I love cats. Those are great. Yeah, long walks on the beach, comfortable pair of shoes.
Oh.
Yeah.
That
Maybe
one.
a robe.
Ooh.
That's good.
Ooh, like a nice cashmere, maybe?
Absolutely. Only if I can have like a pipe too. I was actually going to request one for this interview, but I feel like if I'm naked underneath, it might distract people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might not be the best
No.
idea.
Probably some chafing too.
Yeah. It'd get used, but, you know.
Well, not yet. When my career just totally plummets, we're going to do that.
Well, tell me a little bit more about Ruby, because I'm particularly interested in that myself. I'm an actor.
Oh, wonderful.
Sort of, so I'm interested in that. So, expound.
Sure. Ruby it's interesting because a lot of people have argued if it is or isn't an anime. Mm-hmm. It's very heavily anime based, so we're going to go ahead and consider it. Monty, the creator, Monty Ohm, has said that we have been accepted as an anime by Warner Brothers Japan. They would like to work with us and do Japanese dubs, so I guess we're going to go ahead and call it that.
There we go. Yeah.
It's a new show that was created, again, we're on our second volume, which is technically a second season, but it's called the volume. Last year was actually when we premiered the first volume. It was well received, and it is based on a group of 4 girls. The lead girl, who's Ruby Rose, my character, she's their leader, and it's almost like a Hogwarts scenario, I guess you could take it in that aspect, is they are all attending a school, which is called Beacon Academy, and at that academy they are trained to fight monsters that are called Grimm. They have no soul, and they actually attack people, and in the past of their entire world that they were in, it used to be overrun by Grimm, the entire world. It was a world of darkness, and people came together and cultivated their own weapons and fighting styles in order to combat Grimm. So now that they're in a time of peace, the Grimm have gone away. They still have schools where they'll train children to become warriors, or hunters, as they call it, or huntresses. And that is where Beacon comes from. That's why they created the school, to try and train these students. So Ruby and her team, which is made up of Weiss-Schnee, which is the W in Ruby, Yang Xiaolong is the Y, and Blake Belladonna is the B. So combined together, you have RWBY, and that's the name of the show.
Well, there you go.
Bam.
And it sounds like a great show. Everybody should watch it.
It's very elaborative. I was going to say I cannot explain all of it in one sit down.
Yeah, no, and I know I haven't seen the whole first volume yet, but I've seen at least half.
Okay.
I think, yes, exactly half.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you.
A lot.
Volume 2 has a lot more in it as well. We go so much more into character depth and plot development. So if you're interested in Volume 1, I would highly recommend Volume 2.
Good, yeah. I'll say one thing that threw me off at first was I was thinking, oh, this is an anime, because that's what I hadn't heard, with, what's the word? Not sold as, but
like promoted as.
Promoted.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm thinking of. Promoted.
I got you.
And then I watched it and I was like, well, this is some weird animation.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's interesting, and I feel like a lot of people have argued about why it is an anime using these arguments, is that it's 3D modeling that's made to look like 2-dimensional animation, which is what was originally the intention to begin with. So a lot of people say, oh, it's not an anime because it's not 2D style. But again, we're heavily borrowing a lot of the assets and a lot of the tropes from anime as well. A lot of moments that you would think of. I know specifically there's times where people will be flung into the air, into the stratosphere, and that happens several times in anime. I mean, physically that's not possible and wouldn't really make sense in other narratives, but we can use that and say, yeah, absolutely, even though it's a different animation style. And that's one other thing that's so innovative about it and why we're excited for the project is we're the first company to do something like that, especially in America. We're the first to create an anime show that is originally created in English, and now we have Japanese dubs that are happening, so it's exciting.
Yeah, I know, that sounds really exciting.
Thank you.
Let me think how I want to phrase this. what? Okay, so you work with achievement hunters first, right?
Yes.
And then you were just asked to do Ruby, the voice of Ruby.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It was a little bit of an interesting process because Monty approached me with the idea of the show. And of course, he had been thinking about it for years on end. So he had every single character, their character description, their background, what types of shoes they have, what shoelaces they have, what color their eyes are. Every single thing was already thought of. And he was speaking to me in the kitchen of Rooster Teeth, actually, telling me about all these ideas that he had. And just him pitching the idea of an anime to begin with was exciting for me. I'm a huge anime nerd. I have been since 7th grade. So when I heard that Rooster Teeth was interested in going into that genre, I literally shit a brick. It was amazing.
Must have been painful.
Yeah, it was. I'm still recovering. Actually, if you hear any, that's my ass. But, yeah. So that alone was exciting. But then again, to see the creator and to be so excited about his project and his idea and to want to have people join in on that collaborative process and to be just as excited about it, it was inspirational. And he already had so many ideas cultivated that we felt like we could hop on board and it wasn't going to be we don't really know what to do with this. It was like, oh no, we have a plan. We have this all set up and ready to go. So he approached me and said, I'm interested in you playing the voice of Ruby, or Blake Belladonna was actually the first two. Mm-hmm. And he kind of explained both of the characters, and I thought, oh, Ruby would be awesome, but she's 15, and I'm 24, and I was like, okay, and I have a very lower register as I'm speaking to you now, and she's supposed to be very high energy, so I thought, oh, maybe I don't know if that would be exactly the right fit for it, but sure enough, I tried a voice that I thought would work, and Monty said, I love it, let's go ahead and use it. So that was it. The first table read, I tried it, and it stuck.
There we go. Well, I gotta say, I approve.
Oh, thank you very much. I auditioned for Pyrrha as well on the side, and another round whenever we were trying to cast her as well, but same thing. They're like, nah, you're perfect as Ruby, let's just do that. That's
awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Well, is there anything in particular that you just want to talk about? Just,
I would say, honestly, the one thing that's exciting for Ruby as well, as far as internally in the company, is that it's allowed me to do a lot more voice acting. Because before, people weren't really, they had no idea that I was interested in it. I had done live action productions. I was in the live action department at Rooster Teeth, and I acted in front of the camera, but never did anything that was specifically just voice work. So whenever Ruby came out, a lot of people were like, I had no idea that you could do that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy making silly voices for myself. And that led to now I'm playing Kimball in Red vs. Blue in this next season, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing how just one little thing will lead into all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really excited for you because that's voice acting. That's where I want to go to.
Oh,
at some point, anyways, among a bunch of other stuff. But anyways,
go for it. Do it.
I'm gonna try. But well, thank you very much.
Of course, thank you for having me.
This was Lindsay Jones and Rooster Teeth Expo 2014.
And this is a sign off.